So, a measure that I try to use when I am trying to determine whether or not something is worth investing any of my life into is I ask myself the question, were I to see myself in this scenario where I am dead, I have gone to meet God, and in that time I have the opportunity to have a conversation with Him. Would I believe that God would ask me, why did I not invest more time into that thing? So, for example, in general, I don't particularly care for sports because I look at it through the lens, or at least I try to do my best to look at it through the lens of what I believe the lens would be for God. In that, if I were in that space where I am having that conversation with Him, I don't believe He would be asking me why I didn't play more sports, or why I didn't keep up with the NFL, or why I didn't track whatever player's career, or whatever it is fans of sports do. I don't particularly care because I don't imagine for one second that God would ultimately care overall about my caring for sports. However, keeping in mind that it's not that black and white, that there are cases where people use sports for good purposes. There are people who will use sports to help the physically disabled become more physically engaged. And that's a really beautiful thing. On the other hand, someone who pursues sports as a career is pretty much guaranteed to be at least somewhat narcissistic, if I'm remembering what narcissism is correctly, in that their pursuit of whatever fame and accolades they're trying to achieve with the sports is purely self-serving. So if anything, in that circumstance, it wouldn't be him questioning why me or that person didn't invest themselves in more sports. It would, in that circumstance, become more of a question of why would you waste the life that I gave you on something so selfish? So yeah, it is important to keep in mind that it is not black and white, but trying to do your best to view the lens through God's eyes and be mindful of what He views as valuable and appropriate uses of our life is a great tool for trying to determine whether something is worth investing in life. Thank you for listening, and I wish you Godspeed.